Hello. Did we start?
Hi all. So we will start our program. Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
please.
Hearing.
Yeah, please carry on.
Okay. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to the participants from Mexico. A warm welcome to the virtual buyer-seller meet for Indian spices with focus on Mexico. As you all are aware, Spices Board, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India is the flagship organization for the development and worldwide promotion of Indian spices. The board is an international link between the Indian exporters and the importers abroad. The board has been spearheading activities for excellence of Indian spices involving every segment of the industry. At the outset, we at Spices Board are delighted to extend our sincere gratitude to the officials of Indian Embassy, Mexico, for associating with board in conducting this BSM. We are glad to inform that the board has developed a virtual platform, Spicexchangeindia, a 360-degree solution to address the various business needs in these changing times. The platform, which is an exclusive marketplace for the Indian exporters and importers abroad, gives access to the information about Indian spices besides providing an arena for digital interaction beyond the constraints of space, time, and language. We are happy to announce that this BSM is happening through this Spice Exchange portal. Coming to our program, India and Morocco enjoys cordial and friendly relations, and it dates back to centuries. Over the years, the bilateral relations have witnessed significant depth and growth. With a view to further promote the export of Indian spices to Mexico, Spices Board, in association with Embassy of India, Mexico, is organizing this online buyer-seller meet. The program envisages to provide a common platform for buyers and sellers of the industry to interact directly and establish effective business linkages and to facilitate the Indian spice trade between India and Mexico. We are happy to announce that more than 50 importers from Mexico and more than 100 Indian spice exporters are attending this event. The program would be of two sessions. The first session will be inauguration of the program, followed by a buyer-seller interaction. On this significant event, we have with us Ms. Juhi Rai, IFS, Economic and Commercial Representative, Embassy of India to Mexico, Mr. B.N. Jha, Director, Marketing, Spices Board, India, Ms. Anna Lilia Lara, Deputy Director for International Harmonization and Evaluation of the National Service for Agri-Food Health, Safety and Quality, Mexico, and Mr. Nidhin Jo, Deputy Director, Spices Board, India. So with this, we will move on to the formal program. May I now invite Mr. Nidhin Jo, Deputy Director, Spices Board, for the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Shaiba. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Respected dignitaries, Ms. Juhi Rai, IFS, Economic and Commercial Representative, Embassy of India to Mexico, Mr. Basid Narayan Jha, Director, Marketing, Spices Board, Ms. Anna Lilia Lara, Deputy Director for International Harmonization and Evaluation of National Service for Agri-Food Health, Safety and Quality, Mexico, officials from Embassy, participants, a good evening to all the participants from India and a very warm good morning to the counterparts from Mexico. First of all, we are really delighted to witness this participation from both India as well as Mexico, thanks to the efforts of Embassy of India at Mexico at these wee hours, because it's early morning in Mexico and it's little it's getting late here in India, but This speaks volumes about the interest the stakeholders have in strengthening the spice trade between both these countries, and we Spices Board, the official competent authority for export promotion of spices and spice products from India, would like to welcome this keen interest, and we are committed to further promoting this between both the countries. As we all know, India is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of spices in the world, and Indian spices are renowned across the world for their rich intrinsic qualities since time immemorial. India and Mexico, we have warm, cordial, and bilateral relationships as well as contacts going back to centuries of commonality of views on a wide range of issues. Bilateral trade between the countries have shown rapid growth in recent years. India, on average, exports around 6,000 metric tons of spices to Mexico annually, valued at close to 20 million US dollars, which accounts for around 1%, both in volume and value of the total spices exported from the country. With a view to further promote the export of Indian spices to Mexico, the board, in association with the Embassy of India at Mexico, is organizing this online buyer-seller meet. With this note, I would like to venture into my official responsibility for the day. At first, I warmly welcome Ms. Juhi Rai, IFS, Economic and Commercial Representative, Embassy of India to Mexico, without whom this event could not have been made. I take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to all the embassy officials and the team of Juhi Madam, who have put in their best efforts to organize this participation in this platform today. I welcome you, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Nitin. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be collaborating with the Spices Board, and we look forward to increased participation from both countries. Thank you.
Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Basud Narayan Jha, Director Marketing, Spices Board India, to this online buyer-seller meet. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Nitin.
Now, may I welcome Ms. Anna Lilia Lara, Deputy Director for International Harmonization and Evaluation of the National Service for Agri-Food Health, Safety and Quality, Mexico, to this virtual buyer-seller meet. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you.
Last but not the least, I would like to welcome the exporters from India who have turned up in considerable numbers, as well as the spice buyers from Mexico, without whose participation this event would not turn out to be effective. I would like to welcome all the stakeholders, the buyers from the spice exporters from India, as well as the buyers from Mexico, to this program. I hope this buyer-seller meeting would help in establishing effective business linkages and would further strengthen the spice trade between both the countries with the active involvement of Spice Board, Embassy of India, and the regulatory bodies of the government of Mexico. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. B.N. Jha, Director Marketing, Spices Board India, to inaugurate this online buyer-seller meet and to deliver a presentation on the Indian spice industry. Sir.
Good evening to all the participants, and good evening, Madam Ms. Juhi Rai, IFS, Economic and Commercial Representative, Embassy of India to Mexico, and Madam Ms. Ana Lilia Monte Lara, who is the Deputy Director for International Harmonization and Evaluation of the National Service for Agri-Food, Health, Safety and Quality, Mexico. Good morning to all the Mexican importers. Good evening to our Indian exporters friend and all the participants here. At the outset, I would like to thank Embassy of India, Mexico for associating with the board for organizing this international buyer-seller meet. India is the single largest producer, consumer, and exporter of spices globally. And the Spices Board, which comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, is the flagship organization for the development and worldwide promotion of various Indian spices. India's spice exports, with a volume of 17,58,985 metric ton, valued at $4.1 billion, scaled the landmark level of achievement for the year 2021 in value realization terms. Besides recording a growth rate of 37% in volume, 16% in rupees term, and 11% in dollars term over the previous year, despite the global pandemic situation. And though we were having a pandemic for last 2 to 3 years, we have seen significant growth in the spices exports from India because of its immunoboosting properties, which is acknowledged globally. The NAFTA region is a major export destinations of Indian spices. And during 2021, India exported 133,230 metric ton of spices worth $673 million to NAFTA region, accounting to 16% in the total value of spices exported from India. And Mexico is India's one of the trading partner for spices in this region. More trade details, I will be sharing it in my presentations, which I'll be taking you through. So I'll just share my presentation here for the benefit of the stakeholders. Thank you. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
1 minute. I am not able to get the screen. Yeah, I hope it is clear now. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is regarding the spices exports to Mexico and its prospects and potential. As you know, Spices Board mandate, it's constituted by an Act of Parliament of India, the Spices Board Act 1986, and it promotes and regulates around 52 scheduled spices in any form, including curry powder, spice oil, solaricins, and other mixes and blends. And our mandate is for production, research, domestic marketing, and export promotion of cardamom, which is small and large. Mandate for research, production, and domestic marketing of spices other than cardamom is vested with the Union Ministry of Agriculture and concerned state and agriculture horticulture department. It performs quality evaluation and control of spices for exports. The Spices Board is the designated competent authority for promoting and regulating spices export from India by major importing countries, including European Union. And the Spices Board has office network and quality evaluation laboratories in the major producing, processing, and export hubs of spices in India, including Northeastern region. India produces around 10.45 million metric ton of various spices. The Spices Board has registered around 7,000 exporters with 50% of value added products which are being exported. We have around 20 plus GI tag registered various spices with a strong, very strong domestic demand, which we ourselves consume around 85% of the total production. And we export only 15% of the total production in India, which makes us, again, the largest exporters globally. So we are the #1 producer, consumer, and exporter as well. Total exports in the year 2021, as I have already intimated, we have crossed a landmark progress of more than $4 billion. And we have seen in the volume wise, we have over the 1920, we have grown by more than 37%. Number of spices exported are in the range of 225 spices, various spices products range, to around 180 countries. And major items of exports are chili, mint, cumin, cardamom, ginger, pepper, turmeric, coriander, curry powder, mint products, spice oils and oil resins, and others. The major destinations being USA, China, Bangladesh, UAE, Thailand, UK, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Germany, and other European Union countries. And compound annual growth rate since year 2014-15 till 2021 is at the rate of 13% in value terms. Spice traded with the Mexico, we are trading majorly many of the spices, including spice oils and oil resins, cumin, chilies, mint oils, turmeric, garlic, ginger, fenugreek, cardamom, coriander, celery, nutmeg. The total quantity what we have exported to Mexico for the year 2021 is around 7,122 metric ton with a value of 22 million US dollars. And we have also seen that in India, the spice exports to Mexico has registered around 39% in quantity terms growth compared to the 1920 and 2021. Mexico total spice imports from world during 2020 has shown 45,386 metric ton, which is valued at 221 million US dollars. Out of this, India's share is around 22 million US dollar, and there is a vast scope for further growth. So India's percent share is around 16% in value terms, and in quantity, it is around 10%. And major spices exported, as I have already indicated, it is spice oils and oil resin, chilies, cumin, turmeric, mint oil as well. So for the target, what we have got for 21-22 is around 4.81 billion US dollar. And the export target for Mexico is around 7.49 million US dollar. So to achieve these targets, especially we have designed this international buyer seller meet to enhance our kitties to the various importing countries. Our strategies to boost spice export to Mexico, it is global outreach through IBSM, International Buyer Seller Meets, in association with the Indian missions during 21-22, and also pinch of spices for a bunch of benefits, which promotes the health benefit. It has got immune boosting properties of spices which we present before the global audience. And effective redressal of trade concerns affecting spices exports, such as sanitary and phytosanitary measures. The Spices Board has its own state-of-the-art 8 laboratory network, and it is equipped with various sophisticated equipment like LC-MS-MS, GC-MS-MS, and various other testing equipments. And it is accredited under ISO 17025-2017 and regularly participate in internationally accepted check sample programs. And we have a track record of virtually eliminating the issues of illegal dyes in chili products and check the concern of mycotoxins as well in spices, which we are doing it as a mandatory test prior to the exports from India origin. Our vision is to sustain the leadership in global trade of spice and value-added spices products, thereby contributing to the growth of agricultural exports from India. Mission to become the international processing hub and premier supplier of clean, safe, and value-added spices and spices products to the industrial and retail segments of the global spices markets. The main challenge is to sustain India's leadership in spices exports amidst stiff competitions from the low-cost producers and to meet the increasingly stringent quality and food safety norms set by major importing destinations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shaiba.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Ms. Ana Lilia Lara, Deputy Director for International Harmonization and Evaluation of the National Service for Agri-Food Health, Safety and Quality, Mexico, to address the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. I will share my screen. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, visible.
ma'am.
Yes,
Visible,
yes.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I would like to thank for the invitation to this important meeting. For us, it's relevant to explain a little bit some special requirement for all these kind of species. The first, The first step that is important to understand or to know is to have identified the harmonized system code. This is because not all the products are regulated by the MPPO. As you listen, I belong to the National Plant Protection Organization, and the regulation is related with plant products only in fresh state, or all the material processed, for example, as powder or in final presentation in boxes or bags. We don't have any regulation. For that, it's important to know the Harmonized System Code, HGS code, to identify if is a product regulated by the Plant Health General Direction or if it's regulated under other different Mexican official institutions. Okay. Why we separate the products with this in this way? Well, as I explained to you, there are some not regulated products. In this case, we don't identify any phytosanitary risk. Why? Well, because of the presentation, because of the final, because of the intended use, for example. And in this case, all these products are free of importation. But it's important to note that according with the Mexican legislation, there are some other Mexican institutions that perhaps could have a specific requirement, for example, related with human consumption. There is another Mexican federal institution related with all the products that, well, for human consumption, that also is important to comply with. And in the case of those regulated products, such as fresh products, plant or propagative material, plants, and others, we identify the low risk or high risk. What is the meaning of this? Well, if the regulated product has low risk, we only require, for example, a visual inspection at the point of entry. What are these products? For example, ginger, powder of ginger, curcuma, powder of chili, for example. But we identify at high risk those that are fresh and are regulated by very, very specific phytosanitary import requirement, such as, for example, the presentation of a phytosanitary certificate with perhaps an additional declaration according with the best risk identified related with the product, with the commodity. Perhaps an inspection at the point of entry, a quarantine treatment in the case of chilies, for example, because we have some Mexican legislation that I specify below in the screen. We have some agreement, national agreement that establish some specific requirements that are important to comply with. In the case of the regulated products, we have a model of phytosanitary import requirement in an electronic application. In this slide, I give you the web page, the specific web page where you can found a specific phytosanitary import requirement for those regulated pests. Is important according with arancel or tariff fraction to identify if it is a regulated product by the Plant Health General Direction, or if the regulation belongs to another different institution. But the facility of this electronic application is that you have access since wherever you stay, and it's very easy if from your country you can have access easy. I would like to explain what happened when there are no phytosanitary import requirement, because obviously that we don't have phytosanitary requirements for everything. In this case, according with the International Plant Protection Convention, in this case, it's important to perform a pest risk analysis. The pest risk analysis is a process of evaluation of biological or scientific and economic evidence to determine whether an organism is a pest. This pest risk analysis is performed by Mexico, by the as importing country, and Mexico requires some information in a specific. The MPPO of the exporting country needs to respond some questions that I will show you in the next slide. There are 32 questions, very, very specific around the crop, the conditions in the country of origin, some specification about the phytosanitary treatment and others. This is in this way because obviously we have a specific legislative document that is the agreement that establishes the model of phytosanitary requirement for the import of goods regulated by this other. This is a document, this is very specific document that contains an annex number 1. In fact, it's the only annex. This annex belongs to the 32 question about the product. All the information needs to be in Spanish because it's the official language of Mexico. And the MPPO review all the answers and evaluate if it's complete or if we need to request some additional information. But all these activities is to perform the pest risk analysis and at the end to establish a phytosanitary import requirement. All this process, the establish of phytosanitary import requirement or the pest risk analysis and all the phytosanitary measures around all these kind of commodities are supported under the IPPC, is the International Plant Protection Convention and all the Mexican legislation. To communicate all the requirements, we follow obviously for transparency, all the communication channels according with the World Trade Organization to inform the final phytosanitary requirement. But as I told you since the beginning of this presentation, it's important to know if is regulated or not regulated product, and the intended use obviously is important to take into consideration. And if in the case that the product is a regulated product by the MPPO, you can have access via the website that I give to you to identify if this is the website, to identify if there are phytosanitary import requirements. Yeah, for me, that's all. If you have questions, well, I can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, if any questions?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Can I ask something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Buenos días, señora Ana Lilia, para usted.
Hola, buenos días.
Hola, muy buenas. Es que quisiera saber directamente a quién debemos contactar para cumplir con todas esas regulaciones para tema condimentos o especies.
Todas las organizaciones nacionales de protección fitosanitaria tienen un punto de contacto oficial. El punto de contacto oficial es el doctor Francisco Javier Trujillo Arriaga. Él es el director en jefe del Senacica.
Senacica.
Sí,
Kindly excuse me for a minute. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry for intervening. Yes, as I understand the question is specific, but for the wider interest of all the participants, I would request the person who has asked the question to kindly repeat the question in English, so that this whatever you are asking.
I understand it is not specific actually.
Also, you may introduce yourself.
Yeah, it is actually. Right. It is not very specific. It is for about all the participants, exporters who are interested in exporting to Mexico. So my question was, which is the regulatory department and to whom we can approach in Mexico to fulfill all the compliances from the certification quality aspect?
Well, as I explained a few minutes ago, it's necessary to send all the information to the official contact point. The official contact point for Mexico is Dr. Javier Trujillo Arriaga, is the head director of the Senacica. But the Plan Health General Director is Ingeniero Francisco Ramirez y Ramirez. In the case of myself, I am an alternative contact, alternate contact point of the official contact point. You can find all this information in the IPPC website, or I can give all my information to the embassy.
Muy bien. Y lo podemos saber qué cantidad de muestras necesita normalmente el departamento para cumplir con las regulaciones o emitir las certificaciones. Voy a preguntar en inglés también para que otros participantes puedan entender. My next question was like, what are the quantity of samples normally they ask for to certify the products which can be entered in Mexico? Ya, señora, a usted si puede ayudar un poquito con eso.
Bien, no es, hay otra, well, sorry.
Yeah.
There is another general direction of phytosanitary inspection, phytosanitary inspection in Mexico that can answer better than me, but in this case is according with the quantity, according with the presentation.
Sorry for the interruption between, ma'am. You may please continue.
Sorry?
No, sorry
Yeah,
for the
continuar,
interruption
por
in
favor.
between. You may please carry on, ma'am. Over to you.
Yeah, no, I was talking about that there is another specific general direction in Mexico. The name is General Direction of Phytosanitary Inspection. This area, well, in this area belongs all the Mexican inspector of the point of entries, but the quantity of sample depends on the kind of products. Is according with the quantity of tons, kilos, number of bags, for example, is very different between the commodities. It's different between, obviously, in the kind of transport, I don't know, ship or container, but is the necessary to find some quarantine pest of interest of Mexico.
Hello. Can I raise one question?
Yes, please.
Yes.
You may introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself Ramlal Maheshwari from Ahmedabad.
Please carry on, Mr. Maheshwari.
Yes, we are doing chilies to the Mexico. So as of Sagarapa and Senseca rules that the Sagarapa inspector should available in India, I think it is little bit costly if I ask from Sagarapa inspector to India and he monitor here and then after I stuff cargo to the Mexico. Nowadays, what is happening that many Chinese, they are buying chilies from India to China and they export from China to Mexico as a Chinese origin. Indian chilies, actually, they are exporting to the Chinese origin to the Mexico. This is the reason that the big chunk of our business shifted from India to the China. So I would tell I would, rather than telling the Spice Board must initiate this one with the Mexican authorities to do the direct trade rather than it is going through via China. Many of trade going to the China and it goes to the Mexico.
Yes. Now, before I leave this.
Mr. Nitin, I would like to make an intervention here.
Yes, madam.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Ramlal, I'd
yeah.
like to inform you that just today we concluded a very productive meeting to discuss this issue, and the governments on both sides are actively working on this issue. So thank you very much for your intimation, and thank you very much for your intimation and the concerns raised. But I would like to assure you that from the both sides, we are actively working on resolving this issue at the soonest possible. Okay.
What's your good name, ma'am? What's your good name, ma'am?
Juhi Rai. I work at the Indian Embassy in Mexico.
Oh yeah, I know, ma'am. I have spoke with last time. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So this dry chili is a important point, and in fact, Madam Anna Lilia was also present in the meeting today. In the morning, we have been working since 7 a.m. Mexico time.
Oh,
so
great.
she's aware of the issue, and we are going to identify a work plan, and we will work together on this. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, concern is only that we are selling to the China, and China is getting that benefits from the Mexico.
We are not going to talk about a third country here. We can only talk about the two countries involved in the.
Anyway, okay, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot.
Thank you.
Juhi, in this case, I can send you the presentation. If you can share with all the participants, will be useful. At the end of the presentation, there is the official contact point. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll wait for your presentation, and thank you.
Next, we will move on to the, before we should come up with further questions, we will move on to the interaction part. If there are any, I would like to request the participants from Mexico to kindly come forward and briefly speak about their company and their interests in and about their requirements about Indian spices. And for the knowledge of all the participants, both from India as well as from Mexico, we have prepared a brochure compiling the details of the Indian exporters participating in the event and the Mexican buyers participating in the event, as well as the leading spice buyers of Mexico, which would be circulated from Spice Board side to the Indian exporters. And also, I would like to request the embassy to circulate the brochure to all the participants from Mexico. So any of the Mexican importers who are attending the program, if they would like to come forward and share their requirements about Indian spices, that would help the Indian sellers to get in touch with you at a later stage and further build up on the information. Thank you. In the meanwhile, may I request the representatives from Srivaru Impacts Chennai to come forward and speak briefly about their spice exports and spice exports to Mexico. Representatives from Srivaru Impacts Chennai.
Yeah, hi. Buenos dias, good morning, and good evening to everybody here. My name is Soundarya, and I am representing Srivaru Impacts and Logistics from Chennai in the south of India. We are in the chili export business for the last 14 years. And so we've been in the chili export business for the last 14 years, and we export dried red chilies. We also sell crushed chilies and chili powder to Mexico. The last 4 years have been difficult for us because of the regulations from the Mexican government regarding the export of chilies from India. So we are hoping the Spice Board and the Mexican officials to help resolve the issue soon, so that we can establish the business once again with our Mexican clients. So thank you.
Nitin, unmute.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can we have the representative from AK Spices?
Good morning to the people attending from Mexico, and good evening to all who are attending from India. And thank you, Mr. Nithinju, for the opportunity. We are AK Spices, and we started operations in the year 1995 primarily as an extracts company. And now we are into dry spices, dry steam sterilized spices too. We already export to Mexico, mainly in the form of turmeric, red pepper, that is chilies. And of late, our exports have been impacted primarily because of the huge increase in freight rates and also the raw material costs. But we look forward to continuing and improving upon the business we have with Mexico. And we are happy that Mexico is finding more traction in the steam sterilized spices instead of the ETO treated or irradiated varieties. That is our endeavor to try and maximize the number of spice products we sell to Mexico. And I'm sure that the initiatives Spices Board has, along with the Mexican counterparts, would probably help us in widening our spread into Mexico. We look forward to getting more inquiries, primarily for turmeric, chilies, and ginger for export to Mexico, as well as the other main spices which we provide out from India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, AK Spices. Now, I would like to once again request the participants from Mexico, if they would like to make use of the platform to express their interest for Indian spices, or to share any related information with regard to the trade in spices. If there is someone who can help me with the translation of this, that's also welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Nitin, I think I have a personal question from Walmart. The representative from Walmart had to leave because she has a different meeting to attend, but Walmart is looking to explore opportunities of importing Indian spices. And as we were discussing this, maybe it's best if we could organize a promotional event in Walmart, a physical event in Walmart in the coming months with the focus on Indian spices, and we can club it with other superstores which are here in Mexico. But this was a general theory from Walmart. How can we take it forward if they want to organize something for Indian spices? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for communicating the interest of Walmart in spices. We and would arrange another program, and we can prepare the catalog for the event in such a way so as to suit the requirements, the demands from the Walmart side also.
In a couple of days, I will be sending you the requirements which Walmart has, and main attention has to be paid, as was explained by the Senaseca representative, is to the packaging. So the packaging requirements are very specific to Walmart. So in a couple of days, we will be in a position to share with you the requirements. And then as you have organized these promotional events with other embassies as well, I was seeing, so maybe we can organize something like that in Mexico also.
So ma'am, we look forward to working with the embassy on that particular event.
Thank you.
Now, I have an interest raised hand from Mr. Jos David Enkels. Over to you, Mr.
Please
Jos
go
David.
ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm David Angeles from Walmart, Mexico. I'm the category manager from Salt and Spices, and we are looking for some spices that are not so common to find in our country. So if you have some products that you have and that we can have, please contact me or contact Andrea Salgado, that is in the meeting too. So thank you for this session.
Mr. Jos, thanks for the remarks, but apologies for the network issue, maybe because I believe many of us were not able to hear you or understand you clearly. Can you please repeat?
Yes. Well, I'm David Angeles from Walmart, Mexico. I'm the category manager from Salt and Spices. We have approximately 200 to 2,000 stores in Mexico, and we are looking for some spices or salt that are not so common to find in our country. So I think we have curcuma, we have ginger, and we are not looking for that spice. So if you have some new spices or different or exotic spices that we can sell in the country, we are open to you. So please contact me. I will give you my email, and or contact Andrea Salgado, that is in the meeting too.
Mr. Jos, thanks for sharing the interest. We would like to request you if you can share your email ID in the chat box. That would help the participants. And as Juhi Madam was just suggesting, we would be holding an exclusive event for Walmart, specialized event for Walmart, so as to strengthen the sourcing and export of spices to meet the Walmart's requirements. Thank you. I could see a few raised hands.
Very good evening to everyone. May I ask a question?
Yes, Ms. Parul.
I'm so thankful, sir. My name is Parul, representing L World. And my question is directly into the exporting of organic spices from India. I would like to know the export potential of exporting specifically organic spices to the importing country, Mexico.
Yeah, Parul, we have noted your query. If I would like to request the participants, if anyone from Mexico who can give us some light on this, some information on the query. If not, if we are not able to do this today, we will be noting your query and we would be taking it up with the embassy. And with the help of embassy, we would prepare an FAQ based on the points which have been raised today. So in the short term, for the I would like to request any of the exporters in this forum, from any of the buyers in this forum from Mexico, if they can give us some information on the demand for organic spices, the market for organic spices in Mexico.
Sir, also polite second question. What kind of containers are preferred by the importers in Mexico? That is 20-footer or 40-footer?
Okay. From Spice Board side, we are noted the queries. If anyone would like to give us some information on this, or maybe if Mr. Jose, who can give us some information on the demand for organic spices, we would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I don't have some. Well, I don't. We don't have that products right now. We are looking for some spices that we don't find in Mexico. So I would like to see your PDF offers. Referent for the containers, we have another department in Walmart that is specialized in import.
Thank you, Mr. Jose, for these remarks. And Ms. Parol, we would take up your query with the Embassy of India, Mexico, and would get back to you.
I'm so thankful, sir.
So can I raise a quick question?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Dilip.
Yeah. This is Dilip Gurnani. Senor Jose. Sí, señor José, ¿usted me escucha?
Sí.
Sí, los condimentos lo que usted refiere, que son diferentes y que no existen en México, ¿puede dar alguna indicación de qué tipo de condimentos lo que están realmente tratando de explorar de la India?
Well, I really don't know the Indian spices. Well, I don't know the Indian spices really. So if you have some catalog or some proposals, we would like to check with my import department and then the samples, and then there is a process, a huge process in Mexico to have some samples. So if you can share with me some Indian spices, I will appreciate it.
Sure. Okay. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Now, may I invite Mr. Rajat Agarwal?
Yeah, hi, thank you for inviting me. This is Rajat Agarwal from F&F International, New Delhi. We are producers and exporters of cardamom, and we also are manufacturers of menthol and mint products, essential oils, spice oils, and aromatic chemicals. My question is there any drug license required by the Mexican importers to import cardamom in Mexico?
We have noted your question, Mr. Rajat. May I request Madam Anna Lilia to give us some information on this, if possible? Or maybe if Embassy can guide us a bit.
Cardamom requires sanitary registration in Mexico because of the requirements. Cardamom is one of the exotic spices which Walmart is referring to. I was about to intervene there. So cardamom is not that easily imported to Mexico. It requires to be packaged in certain forms, which I don't have the technical details with me right now, but I will be passing it to you on email, and then you can circulate it among the buyers. But along with cardamom, there are certain other spices. I know the Hindi name, which is dalchini. Yeah, cinnamon. So these spices and bay leaf also, these spices are the ones which require certain additional requirements. So we will be sharing this information with you. We have noted down your question. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah. May I ask Ms. Andrea Salgado?
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea from Walmart, Mexico. I work with David. I'm his assistant. And what we are looking for is for, like he said, different or exotic species that we can offer to our clients. Not like cinnamon, cardamom, curry, and things like that. No, we really want different products for food, snacks, or drinks. And we really want to hear your proposals. And first of all, to meet the category a little bit more and to know different species. I don't know if you can help us with that.
Thank you, Ms. Andrea. May I request you to share your email ID in the chat box for the benefit of all the participants so that they can get in touch with you post event. I hope we will soon get Ms. Andrea's email ID.
Yeah,
her ID is already put by Mr. Jose.
Yeah, David shared to you our emails, but I can also put it on the chat again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Include?
May I ask Abana Spices, if in case I not earlier invited them? Abana Spices?
Yeah. Hi, good morning, friends from Mexico, and good evening, friends from India here. I'm Shalini, I'm from Abana Spices, and I would just like to introduce myself that we have recently received the CRES certificate just 2 days back, and this is our very first BSM. So definitely we are sounding like, we are novice and we do not have much of the information at hand. But definitely this seems to be a very promising meeting, and I hope that we would be invited for further meetings. Just a small question, because we are new and we have just been registered as the exporters now. What is this step number 2 for us, and how and where to connect? Because we are finding, things, it's sounding a little overwhelming for us as of now. So I would want if a little bit of guidance can be given to us in this meeting.
Okay. I think that's a general question, which for a new entrepreneur to venture into spice exports. There are various platforms when you get in to get in touch with your buyers. One most important platform, which was the international trade fairs, but due to Corona situation of late in the past couple of years, not many international trade fairs have been happening. Right. Now, in the short term, what I can suggest you is one, the board this year, the Spices board has conducted, today's is the 9th International Bioseller Meet, which the board has conducted this year. The brochures of all the previous events have been uploaded in Spices board's website, indianspices.com, under the tab Bioseller Meets, and you can access those brochures to have some contacts about the interested buyers for Indian spices, which have been sourced by the board through the respective Indian embassies. So maybe you can start getting in touch with those buyers. But as you know, the trade would materialize based on the demand and the supply equation and other finer details, which the board will not be getting into. But this is one way for you to start out with. Two. Second thing is, I assume that you are joining this through a portal called Spicexchangeindia.
Right.
So which has been recently launched by Spices Board.
Right.
So which provides exporters a platform to connect with the buyers across the world. This is a subscription-based network. I would request the Spice Exchange India team who are also attending, who are also online now, to take note of the contact of Ms. Abana and further guide her on this Spice Exchange India portal.
Thank
I
you.
think this,
Sir.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That's a big help. Thank
You're
you.
most welcome.
Yeah.
Can we conclude, Mr. Nitin, if there are no further questions? Please unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Shaiba, may I request you to invite the madam for the vote of thanks?
Okay, sir. Now I invite Ms. Juhi Rai, IFS, Economic and Commercial Representative, Embassy of India to Mexico, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shaika. And on behalf of the Embassy of India in Mexico City, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the buyers and the sellers who have taken the time to participate in this buyer-seller meet. And the special mention of Spices Board has to be done here, because it was on the initiative of the Spices Board along with the Embassy that we planned something like this, although on a short notice. So we could get a huge participation. I could see that we reached the number of 130 at some point of time from both the countries, and it's a very positive sign of bilateral cooperation in economic and commercial relations. So thank you very much, Spices Board. Thank you very much, Mr. Nitin Jo. I know that I've been troubling you a lot over WhatsApp over the past few weeks, and my apologies if I ever bothered you. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation and kind suggestions in incorporating different things in the program. Thank you very much to Mr. Basit Narayan Jha for that informative presentation on the spices industry in India and the numbers on the bilateral trade between India and Mexico in the spices. We are looking right now to set a target for exports. So for the next financial year from India to Mexico, and we will be getting in touch with you to arrive at certain optimistic targets in spices. So thank you very much again. And of course, I have to mention with my very deep honor and pleasure, Madam Anna Lilia, because she accepted our invitation very promptly, and she has already shared the presentation on the regulatory requirements in Mexico for imports of Indian spices, which I will be sharing to Indian Spices Board. Thank you very much, Madam, for your cooperation, and a very good morning to you again. We hope to see you soon again. And if there are any queries and if there are any concerns related to the spices or the Cena Seca, please do get in touch with the Indian Embassy in Mexico. The Indian Embassy in Mexico remains available for the queries, concerns, doubts. It is our mission and mandate to help the Indian exporters. And of course, it is our mission and mandate to help the Mexican importers also. We look forward to organize such an events again. With increased participation, and we are available for whatever cooperation would be needed from our end. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Our sincere gratitude to you for making arrangements for organizing this buyer-seller meet, which has turned out successful with the participation, as you mentioned, about a wide range of stakeholders from both the countries. Ma'am, and we look forward to cooperating with you and working with the Embassy of India, Mexico for the upcoming Walmart program also. And before we wind up, ma'am, we request you to, as you said, the PPT would be reaching Spices Board, which we would further share with the stakeholders. Also, I would like to repeat for the benefit of everyone that the event brochure, we have an event brochure which would be shared in WhatsApp. For Indian exporters, there is a WhatsApp group formed exclusively for this. The link to the WhatsApp group I have pasted in the chat box, and this brochure would be shared in the WhatsApp group. And this would also be emailed to all the participants in today's BioSeller meet. And we have requested the embassy to share this brochure with the Mexican counterparts as well. And those questions which were raised in this meeting, we would be compiling them and submitting it to the embassy for some guidance in those regard. Before we wind up, may I request everyone to turn on their video so that we can grab a screenshot, if you don't mind.
Are you guys sharing the presentation?
We have
Thank you.
already put the email IDs of the commercial wing of the Indian Embassy in Mexico City, which you can use to send in your queries and concerns anytime. And we promise that we do respond promptly on all the queries raised. So thank you very much, everyone. And Indian Embassy in Mexico is always available for any trade promotion event. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you,
thank
everybody.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
morning.
Good night to Indian people, exporters, and good night.
Good night.
And good day to Mexico. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nitin, are you going to share that presentation to us?
Yes,
the PPT?
we would.
Yeah.
We would, maybe tomorrow we would send it to all the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ये हो गया। उसके बाद में लिखो मेरे ये इनका अलग लिखना है कि इसी में लिखते हैं? वो तुम्हारे काय के भैया काय मत हो पहले भैया संघ के